So, on to tonight's speakers. We are going to be open up with Dec behind us here, and Dec is going to be talking on behalf of the Glasgow Anarchist Communist Group, and he'll be doing a wee talk on May Day and the challenges facing people involved in revolutionary movements today. He's going to be followed by Johan. Johan's right there in front of me. And Johan is from Glasgow No War But the Class War. And he's going to be talking about the threat of war and how we might oppose it. There is food, there's soft drinks, there are alcoholic drinks. So please grab something to eat, relax your body, leave your mind open, and enjoy this evening. So on that, I'll hand you over to Dec. Thank you.
Thanks for the introduction. Comrades, May the 1st has been a very long established day of celebration and activity on the part of the common people. Something that's been out of the ordinary, a day that's for something different, for something unusual. And it's something that people have engaged with historically for a very, very long time, into antiquity, as it were. And if anybody had been at my May Day talk earlier, last month it is now, they would have heard about the development of May Day. We're here to celebrate May the 1st on May the 1st, May Day on May the 1st, as part of International Workers' Day. It's a day born out of struggle, and born out of the struggle for the 8-hour day, 8 hours of work, 8 hours of rest, 8 hours to do as you see fit. It's a day that commemorates the martyrdom of 4 anarchists who gave their lives in that struggle, known as the Haymarket Martyrs, executed in 1887 by the state for an act they most certainly did not commit. Victims, like so many, of capitalist justice. The first celebration of May Day in Glasgow was actually on the 3rd of May, and it was on Glasgow Green in 1891. And after that, May Day became a very important and significant day in the workers' calendar in Glasgow and beyond. But on Glasgow Green, for example, in 1917, there was an estimated 100,000 people present on the May Day demonstration on a Tuesday. Right. For generations, May Day subsequently became associated with mass mobilisation. It was a big day out, even within living memory, my living memory. May Day marches in Glasgow, and to some extent in Edinburgh as well, but across the world really. Marches and festivals drew in thousands of ordinary people. They were an important part of people's year. But this has declined dramatically, and particularly after 1978, when the Labour Party institutionalised May Day effectively with the May bank holiday. So most people nowadays are kind of like, when you talk about May Day, they think the first Monday in May, right? And that's a bit of a day off. That's obviously great having a day off, but it's kind of lost the meaning of what May Day was originally about, a celebration and a commemoration of working class politics, essentially. So it's up to us, in some ways, as small numbers, to note the day, on May the 1st, however modestly for now. And not on the nearest available weekend now. If you have read anything about the Red and Black Clydeside, we are organising a May Day picnic on the 5th, the Sunday basically. And that's the same day as the STUC will have their annual May Day march in the wrong direction towards the University of Glasgow. We stand in precarious and dangerous times. Capitalism has reached a turning point, growth continues to trend down, real wages are stagnating, and rent and the price of basic goods and services soars. The defensive struggles of 2022, which possibly some of you in this room, certainly I was involved in, The strikes in the railways, in the universities and elsewhere brought very limited results. The struggles remained in the hands of union bureaucrats who ultimately do not share our interests. And globally, conflict has erupted in big style recently in recent times. Russia, Ukraine, the civil war in Sudan that people don't talk about anymore, and the 7 months of slaughter in Gaza. The threat of globalised war has been ramped up in recent times. We're being prepared, essentially, psychologically, for ever greater sacrifice, both economic in paying for war and human in dying in wars, essentially. It is as if, as Rosa Luxemburg just there, said over 100 years ago, that we are faced with a choice of socialism or barbarism. And it feels, and I think that many comrades probably share this feeling, that I certainly have, that barbarism is pretty much with the whip hand at the moment. It's in the driving seat, okay? So May the 1st gives us an opportunity to consider where we are as anarchists, libertarians, and at this point, what do we need to do if we're to have any role, any meaningful role in the fight against capitalist barbarism. Presently, we act in isolation. We're siloed in small groups, engaged in activities that remain marginal, part of an exclusive scene to a very great extent where we need to build a movement. We need to leave scenes behind and create a movement. There's a crying need for coordination, of coherence, and for a continuity in our activity and in our struggles. And we must restore working class self-organisation and engagement in the class struggle, the founding elements of the anarchist tendency in the socialist movement, to the very centre of our politics. Never has there been a more pressing need for libertarian socialists and anarchists to unite around a common platform of theory and practice. And it's by organising together and through our involvement in struggle in a coordinated, in a coherent manner that we can demonstrate the usefulness of our ideas, right? If we can't demonstrate to other working class people the usefulness of our ideas, then we are wasting our time and we're wasting other people's. And so we have to realise the potential for a mass revival of revolutionary politics. Now the RBC, the Red and Black Clydeside, we're a modest group in many ways, but we have been, I think, punching above our weight for some time and with some success. And the RBC, the Red Black Clydeside, aims to be a place where we can meet and discuss, to organise and to act, but we do know that it's just the start. It's just the beginning, and it's really up to you and us to take things forward. So on that point, I just thought to say we have a mighty task ahead of us, okay? But if we're serious about changing the world, then that's a mighty task that cannot be shirked. So I'd just like to say, long live May Day. Thank you very much. Short and maybe not so
What I'm really going to do is sort of go back to basics on like why we're sort of here, what we believe, and what we're aiming to do. So if it seems a bit basic and you're like, duh, then like, it's kind of pointless what I'm doing. So everything around us, everything you see, all the objects we see and interact with, we're sitting on, eating, drinking, all the buildings we move in and out of, and all the land that we walk on are commodities to be bought and sold, and are often used for the production of other commodities. Every person we know and don't know is part of a singular global system that produces this everything. But we are not equal partners in this production. The means of producing the world is owned by a few, the ruling class, the capitalists, and the many others, the working class who cannot live on what they have, must work for the capitalists for their own survival. The ruling class enrich themselves from this division, even if it comes at the expense of the rest of us. If the environment is destroyed, or the workers live in poverty and immiseration, the capitalists will continue to pursue their profits as though nothing has happened. But this pursuit of profits above all other concerns is not an amoral preoccupation. It is what defines the ruling class as such. Those that refuse are pushed aside by their competitors. The worker lives in a controlled society where their lives are dictated to them and their choices are constrained so that they are forced to continue to be exploited by the ruling class. Even if they decide to stop working for this or that capitalist, their only other options are to be exploited by another, or, if they are oh so lucky, to be an exploiter themselves. Under this system, no amount of profit can ever be enough for the capitalists, and no number of technological breakthroughs will ever free the workers from work. Because of this division of the population into separate classes, the world is pulling itself apart and dragging us all into an abyss. The nation-states of the world coordinate with one another to collectively manage the interests of capital on a global scale. But the capitalist system is founded on competition and conflict. Wars are inevitable within capitalist society, and the greater the crisis that the world capitalist system finds itself in, the wider and more deadly the coming war will be. The arrangement of society between those that enrich themselves for the ownership of the world and those that toil underneath them is not a permanent or natural one. It is a recent invention, and one day it will be the distant past. The ruling class will not let go of what they have willingly, and we should not expect them to. Throughout history, whenever the capitalists have thought that the workers were getting too loud, they relied on the state to violently suppress them. From the murder of 100 striking workers in the Great Railroad Strike of 1877 to the Marikana Massacre of 2012. The state's primary function is to protect the ruling class. Nothing is too brutal for the state to enact if it feels the need to do so. Only a violent revolt of the working class to smash the state to pieces and bring down this system of exploitation can bring any change. Nothing less. It is up to us, the working class of today, to ensure that this transformation of society takes place. What is necessary to overturn the world is the self-organized coordination of the working class across the globe. For the workers to take what the ruling class have for themselves and reorganize society so that there are no more classes. We will accept nothing less than the abolition of private property and wage labor, the consequent destruction of money and the state, and their replacement by a world of freely associated producers, where each contributes according to their abilities and takes according to their needs. The workers have a world to win, and it is high time that they won it.
Thank you, Johan, and thank you everybody for being such a good audience for Johan. Again, time runs away with us.